Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Aquarius. If Aquarius is your solar, lunar, ascendant/rising sign, then this is a message for you. Okay, let's get started. Okay, knock, knock, knock. And let's see, what do these tea leaves have for you tonight, Aquarius? I hope you all are doing so well. We are doing well here. And interesting. So, I think last week, we had and now this is backwards, right? But we had the N or the Z. Okay, so it is kind of flipped backwards, but interesting to see that mimicked or echoed, as I said in the last reading, once again. I feel like that must be super important because it seems very much tied to these Aquarius readings. And we started with, I pulled a card for the reading, and it was the Two of Cups. And this is from the Thoth deck. In the Thoth deck, this is related to love, right? And we have this beautiful picture of the lotus spilling over its nectars, filling these cups. These cups are kind of, pouring over, and it's filling up these waters here, these kind of still, but the coloring of the water almost seems it looks like it could almost become a little swampy if we're not careful, right? And so I do believe, from the feeling that I got pulling this card today, and now really looking at these formations, excuse me, especially this one that looks like a winged being. And I would say that something along the lines of maybe like an angel, guardian angel, but also what comes to mind is the idea of a winged entity is kind of the representation of the soul, okay? And in relation to the idea of love or eros, we have this idea that Plato kind of talks about a lot, which is this figure, this winged soul, this winged entity or kind of being that is the soul, very much related to the soul, is awaiting the arrival of Eros and kind of that jolt or being struck by the arrow, right? To be alivened, to be revived, to be awoken with love. And love being the only thing that softens us, keeps us tender, so that we may have a relationship with the divine, with higher knowledge, with wisdom, with cosmic consciousness, with unification, intentional unification with God or some kind of celestial intelligence, consciousness. Okay, and there's no other channel or energy or you know, frequency or anything in the universe that keeps you ready and pliable and receptive and open and vulnerable and you know, lovely and and wanting for this relationship again with that divine thing. And so I think that really this is a conversation maybe less about physical material manifested in the corporeal bodies, relationships with other human beings. Although, I mean, it could be that, because we do know that the beloved was kind of, you know, our personal perception of the divine can be manifested into a physical form or a variety of physical forms. So it could be that this is a physical human to human relationship, but I think that truly this has so much more to do with your devotion to the highest form of love. Okay, and I think that you know, we're looking at a heart here. There's an arrow. This ties into this Eros, however you want to say it, Cupid. We have a dancing person. It reminds me of a dervish, or maybe somebody in a long robe or a long dress, kind of in that beautiful ecstatic splendor. And I love that. I love the thought of the divine splendor, to be completely enraptured in the essence of the divine love, right? Those images of saints and other holy figures who have completely devoted themselves and married themselves, unified themselves to their perception of the divine, of God. And within that relationship, within that interior work, within the places between those ordeals that they cycle through, like a gauntlet, a spiritual gauntlet, there are moments of great ecstasy, of great splendor, of that higher and divine truth. I don't like that word truth, but I think in this context it's kind of synonymous with love, right? And you know, I'm a romantic, I'm a idealistic person to some degree, so maybe love is the only truth, right? And love is like water. It is shifting, it is changing, it is you know, able to sustain in a variety of states, right? And so it is enduring in such a way that most other things are not. I can't think of anything else that is enduring like love is. Knowledge, maybe. I don't know, though. So let's look. Let's keep looking. I can muse on about love all day long. Okay, so we have the candle, and you know, I've been seeing the eyes a lot. Sometimes they look like exclamation marks. I've been seeing them a lot as illuminating candles, and I really think that we are changing seasons, right? And it's a big part of a shift in attitudes, I believe, all around the world, no matter what season you're shifting into. But I do feel this collective desire to kind of illuminate into this darkness, this collective psychic pain that we have become very conscious of. And I believe because of technology and our ability to communicate with each other all across the world so easily and so instantaneously, that there is much more of a space to express the collective hurt. Okay, the collective kind of unrefined, unprocessed, unintegrated, examined sectors of self. Okay, and I think that it really does kind of appear as a lot of pain, anger, isolation, feeling very alienated and not belonging. I know a lot of people have this phenomena of feeling imposter syndrome. Feeling that they, whatever they're doing, they don't feel truly aligned to it. They're kind of faking it until they make it, kind of deal. And, you know, I think, you know, there's just kind of been a mass loss of identity. And I don't know that that's a bad thing, but I know that the experience is hard, it's difficult, it's uncomfortable for all of us, many of us. And now that we're expressing it in mass, it really is very much in the forefront of our consciousness. And I think that it's a natural instinct that some, and I think this has to do with you a lot, Aquarius, is that you are trying to kind of light that pyre, that that eternal flame, that illuminating thing. And really through this love work, this work that you do to bond with your beloved, your interior beloved, with your understanding, perception of the divine, of God, of goddess, of whatever it is, whatever you call it, you are illuminating places within the collective psyche that are troubled right now. And so this work is very important, I believe. And I think that you have just a natural calling to it. You have the faculties to hear that call, to plan, to do the work, to execute the work, and to really sustain and consistently pursue the work. I'm looking here. We have a person, and it feels like they're kind of coming down some stairs here. And I see that they're kind of touching on this arrow that we had looked at. It almost maybe pointing at this winged being. And yeah, and I think, you know, in this one, it's kind of pointing down this way. And here, down here, in this is another person. Okay, and I feel there's a lot of pointing going on, pointing. And I really feel that you have spent a good amount of time helping people find direction. I think also working on finding your own direction at the same time. I know when I'm talking about, you know, these philosophical, metaphysical, spiritual, emotional, you know, topics with anybody, with you, with people in my personal life and so on. I am almost 100% working out my own things as I'm speaking. And so I feel like this is kind of the same sensation that you have in discussing these things. I feel that you are a talker. You like to talk. Not a talker like you say things just to say them, but I think you like to discuss. I think you like to relate to people through conversation. And you work out your stuff doing this, and also you lead people. You are awakening people. You are sowing seeds and helping people. I'm seeing a T. This is upside down. But also, I'm looking at this little plot here, and it looks to me like a garden. That's how I'm perceiving it. And you know, also there are these two figures that look like they're kind of communing here, and then above and below there's kind of this real symmetry here. And I'm thinking of like within a garden, and this is one of my favorite kind of interior landscape motifs are the sacred groves, consecrated grounds, outdoor temples. And so I believe that you are really being drawn into these interior spaces. And what do I mean by these interior spaces? These are places that you dream about. These are places where people call them downloads a lot. I've noticed kind of in online esoteric culture now. But where I would say, in my language, I kind of say where you receive inspiration or divine knowledge or revelation of some kind, personal revelation. And so I think that I kind of get this instinct that exploring your interior landscapes through what vision work, active imagination, dream work, things like this, meditation, path working, whatever it is that you call it, and whatever the technique is, okay, to get into those places. I think finding an orientation of the landscape, so the visualization of like what your temples actually look like, what the places that you travel in these spaces, what they actually look like to you. And then their orientation to the manifestations of your beloved. So where are you meeting this entity, this mirror, this animus, this beloved thing, this, you know, this strand of God, whatever it is that you call it or think of it as. I think that it's worth, so that you may access relationships with them, or like meetings, being able to communicate with one another more easily instead of having to wait for them to appear to you, or feeling them activating in your life. Having these spaces so that you can more easily find one another. And so, let's see, what else do we have? I have these two, and this is kind of totally what I am thinking of. We have the two communing here, but this is also the communing, and we have that winged being again, the soul, the manifestation of the soul, the beloved, the unified self. And then we also have this other figure that's kind of kneeling, right? And sitting, and I feel like almost listening and taking in what this part of self has to say. And now this is really where the work gets tricky, right? We might have the great desire to commune with deeper parts of ourself, with aspects of self, with manifestations of divine beings. But when they do come through, and we are relating to them deeply, and we are listening, and they are speaking, or showing us images or symbols or whatever it is. Excuse me. Then the task really is to not only hear what they have to say, but then decide, will we heed their advice? Will we heed the knowledge that they bestow upon us? Will we take it to heart, right? Will we implement it? I don't know. Sometimes, you know, we go in with the greatest intentions. Do we always follow what they have to say to us? I don't know. I know that I have faltered quite a bit, and you know, found myself in some precarious situations, circumstances, because I did not listen, where I did ask for advice, where I did make appeals for clarity, for guidance. And so that might be the more difficult part of all of this. We also have, it looks like a flag of some kind. So I think that in this context, that really speaks to me as kind of, you know, a kind of giving in to the larger picture, right? Kind of letting go of the need for like a control over things, and maybe taking that advice, right? And doing the hard thing, maybe doing the thing that you don't necessarily want to do. And a lot of times I think it has to do with letting go of things that do not serve us, right? Where we've made some missteps, or we have not thought things through. We've gone maybe down some rugged paths and made choices that do not really suit our ultimate work in the way that we might want them to. And then learning to kind of lay those things down when we need to. And so I think that flag has everything to do with this concept, okay? And let's see. I'm trying to look at to see what else this could be. But it looks like we have like a candelabra, okay? And again, this I think fits with that other, it looks like it's dried and moved now, the other candle. And again, just that illumination, looking for that illumination, listening for it. And carrying it into the darkness, like I had talked about as well. I'm trying to see, kind of, it looks like a log, like a little log with like a slug kind of crawling up, and then there's like a little butterfly there. And what this relates to in my mind is the concept of we go through our days, right, where we don't look around at the fine details that are happening in our environment. We, go about our tasks, our errands, our duties, our responsibilities, all of these things all day long. And we don't often kind of stop and look at the little microcosms that are existing, playing out around us. I'm lucky that I have a small child who has brought me back to this consciousness. And even before her, as I've talked about on other readings, I like to do Seek, which is an app for identifying like wildlife and insects and plants and, things like this. So I've kind of been a little more mindful. Plus, I really am interested in learning how to identify native plants and animals and things that are indigenous to the environment that I live in, just as a challenge for myself, but also because it could be very useful. And it actually is very useful for foraging and such. But anyhow, having a child, though, you are kind of forced to like go along with them, to go a little slower, to sometimes get down on your belly in the grass and kind of look at all the bugs and what they're doing and how things are growing and interacting with each other. And you are taken out of your big, serious, busy world, and you're brought down to this vast universe that is happening parallel to you. And it can be really centering and grounding to do this intentionally, even if you don't have a young child, but just for your own good, just to kind of get out of yourself, and to kind of bring everything back down to a small, quiet place. Where you can hear all the little subtle things and experience something that is larger than you. It looks smaller, but there's so much of it going on. It is so much larger than we are. And so I think that's, that might be a good activity for you to engage in while all these other beautiful things are happening. Okay, and so let's look at this real quick. It is busy over here. I really think that I think it will be so important for you to try to keep a record of your work right now. This spiritual work that you're doing. I really think that journaling is it's an important practice no matter what's going on in your life. But so that you may keep a detailed account of the things that are happening, the experiences you're having, maybe the impressions, the sign symbols, omens, details, you know, just whatever it is, the interactions that are occurring in your interior spaces. All of these things, even if you don't really go over them anytime soon, sometimes, you know, going back later on, you will see patterns in your psyche, in your spiritual work, in your engagements that you did not notice before. So I think it's really important to write these things down. And I see there's just kind of a flurry of information coming to you, into you. And like we had talked about, those kind of downloads, those spiritual, cosmic knowledge downloads. So I think it's, you know, it's a good and potent time for you, Aquarius. And I would love to hear about what is happening. What is your takeaway from this? Do you have any experience with this prior or currently? And you know, I would also just like to hear how you're doing. So leave a comment. Other than that, yeah, if you would be so kind as to like the video, it helps me get into the algorithm. We're reaching more people every day, and that's wonderful. If you have not subscribed, please think about doing so. You can hit the little bell, and that will let you know when the next videos come out. I am doing 2 readings every day, 6 days a week, that is. So every sign is being read once a week now. So in a week from now, Aquarius will be read again. In the meantime, you can watch your other placements. And yeah, I just thank you so much for spending this time with me. I'm always so honored to bring these messages to you. All right, Aquarius, we will talk again very soon. Thank you, thank you, thank you.